Mario Galaxy sucks dick. Okay, so right off the bat, I want it understood that this game is actually great and I do not hate it, but ask me any day of the week and I would never, ever recommend it over Mario 64 or even Sunshine. Now first off, Mario Galaxy's presentation is actually brilliant. The music is absolutely magnificent, especially for a Mario game, and the graphics are some of the best on the Wii. Seriously, this game looks and sounds excellent, whether you're playing on original hardware and caveman 480i resolution or on an emulator like me. If someone ever tells you that video games are not an art form, show them the fight with Bowser. As far as I can tell though, the presentation seems to be its biggest asset. In a way, the game almost James Camerons itself. Like Avatar was a great movie when I saw it in 3D in the theaters, but when I saw it at home on my shitty CRT, I realized that the movie was just a boring ass 3-hour tech demo. While Mario Galaxy isn't exactly that, it still seems like the presentation compensates the gameplay, and that's what this is about, the gameplay. Now here's my first issue. Mario's mobility. When put next to Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, Mario's movements somehow don't feel as satisfying, and that's for two big reasons. 1. Mario seems to generally walk slower than in his previous games. If you compare Mario's walk speed in this game to Sunshine, he just feels sluggish. 2. One of the greatest things in Mario 64 and Sunshine was the ability to dive in the air or while running. When I'm running, jumping, and diving around, I'm having a blast. Look over at Mario Galaxy and there's no diving. Add this to Mario's already slower walk speed and Mario's mobility is lessened even more. Though on the bright side, at least they brought the long jump back, which was absent from Sunshine. It only occurred to me recently how much the inability to dive impacted my experience with this game. I completely took it for granted in the previous games, and for that, Nintendo kicked me in the balls and said, "Your diving privileges are over, buddy. Now go pre-order a Switch or we'll burn down your house." The second issue is the controls. Now for the most part, the game controls fine, but the biggest problem is that it forces you to use the stupid ass Wii remote. Seriously, I hate this thing. Too often are there games on the Wii that have Wii remote features slapped on as if under some sort of obligation. You know what would be great? A GameCube controller? It has the ports for it, so what the hell? Now I realize that there are a number of conveniences offered by the Wiimote, like pointing and shooting, but could they really not have come up with a compromise? Hell, I'm on an emulator using my PS4 controller with the cursor mapped to the right stick. It's wonky as fuck, but at least it's a regular controller. I've also tried using a mouse and keyboard, but that was a disaster. Possibly the worst part about the Wiimote being the only controller is that they added in a bunch of missions that just feel like shitty minigames, which were added in just to vindicate the motion controls. They made minigames where you have to twist and turn the Wii remote in all directions to roll on a ball or surf on a manta ray. Why not just use the fucking control stick? Or at least make the motion controls optional? Come on, guys. And Mario Galaxy is far from the only culprit. The vast majority of Wii games use some stupid controller motion to compensate the lack of buttons on the controller when they could have just let you use a GameCube controller instead. Or how about even the Wii's own classic controller? Going back to Mario Sunshine again, you know what one of my favorite things about that game was? The camera. It always controlled so seamlessly and precisely with the C-stick, and you could zoom it all the way in or all the way out. There was a lot of freedom there. Now, that level of precision is obviously not going to happen on Galaxy because the camera is controlled by the D-pad. Now that's understandable, but what I don't like is the lack of freedom. There are too many times where the camera forces itself to a specific angle, allowing you to see the level from only one physical perspective. Sometimes a different angle can allow you to assess the situation better and as such help you to succeed, but way too often, that's not allowed. Probably one of the biggest fuck you moments was this part where you have to keep circling around this area and the camera keeps cutting around, changing the perspective of the control stick directions and constantly repeatedly throwing Mario into disarray. As if it wasn't bad enough that he was already upside down. Now I'd like to discuss the levels. Generally, I'm a quality over quantity type of guy when it comes to levels. Many fans of this game would argue that Mario Galaxy's levels excel in both areas, but I would disagree. While it's true that there are a lot of levels, I don't enjoy playing them as much. One of the reasons for this is that I don't feel as though the game encourages exploration. Sure, there are secrets in many of the levels, but more often than not, it's just a horde of coins or star bits. Now, to compare it to its predecessors again, If you were to explore the levels and hunt down 100 coins, you would be rewarded with a star. In Mario Galaxy, that doesn't happen. Sure, you can look around the level for more coins or star bits, but why? Well, if you get 50 of either, you get a 1-up, but the game is so easy that you'll almost never need them. But yes, the game doesn't seem to encourage exploration. Instead, every mission just seemingly forces you directly from point A to point B, rather than just letting you take a good look around and go exploring. Now, that's not to say there are no cool secrets at all, like if you can find them, there are often secret stars in some levels, but the problem is that they're often fairly obvious, like this golden chain chomp, or this distinctive glowing rock at the start of the level. You get the idea. Some of them are more difficult to find, but generally not so much. And on top of that, the game will actually tell you which missions in particular have secret stars, thus making it even more easy. That's just a step away from having a photograph of where to find the secret stars. And guess what? They do that too. Every now and then you'll get a letter from Luigi with a photograph inside showing you where he is, then you find him and you get another star. It's almost like the game is spoon-feeding itself to you at times. And if that wasn't bad enough, remember in the older games where you would explore the hub world to find secret levels and such? Like in Super Mario 64, that sweet moment when you walk into this seemingly useless room to find out that you can actually walk through one of the murals and get dropped into a secret level? How about Mario Sunshine? There's this pipe off in the distance that nobody ever mentions. You take the rocket boost over there and guess what? It's a secret level. The closest things to secret levels on the hub world are these hungry Lumas that transform into stars when you feed them. But they're not secret at all because the game tells you whenever one becomes available, and then it even points it out on the map. The hub world is just bland. It feels generic, stale, and boring. I have no idea how you could take a space station and make it boring, but that's what's happened here. Peach's Castle and Isle Delfino seem like they were there to keep the player interested in the game and sometimes give a taste of what to expect in the actual levels. But Rosalina's space station seems to have the sole purpose of being a hub world. And while that might be sufficient for other franchises, I feel that it falls way short of the standards set by its predecessors. Now, I've mentioned a few times that this game is largely too easy, or at least more so than I think it should be. While it's true that half of the game is a complete cakewalk, that's not to say that the game doesn't have difficult moments. For instance, the prankster comets can be pretty challenging. Although the issue with this is that it's usually just missions you've already done, but with a twist, like a 1 health limit or time limit, etc. It almost gives the impression that the game was cutting corners just to fill the 120 star threshold set by its predecessors. And speaking of cutting corners, one of the earliest levels is Hive Galaxy. Here it is on the screen. Now here's some footage of a level that comes much later. Now if you can't tell, this level is just a mirror image of Hive Galaxy with different textures, no hole in the wall, and there's fucking rabbits everywhere. Wow. But in the end, Mario Galaxy is a great game, and while I feel as though it took more steps backwards than forwards, it's still more than worth playing, even if you're just playing it for the music.